Alright, so today we're going to be talking about counter guardians, the protectors of balance. When all else has hit the fan, you can guarantee that the counter guardians are going to make sure that it doesn't get any worse. Usually this guardian is just a spirit that wasn't worshipped in their lifetime like all the others. But don't get it twisted. The counter force will go as far as giving power to a regular human if they feel like they can get the job done. This brings us to the most prominent counter guardian of them all, heroic spirit Tsiah, the post-Stay Night version of Shiro that made a pact with the counter force in exchange for power to save lives. Unfortunately, this left Tsiah damned to an eternity of killing his own kind. The benefits that come with having his role is best seen when he's in action. He's had an endless amount of time to refine his skills, and he's progressed in his combat in ways that would have never been possible had he remained as Shiro. Then you have his pops, Kirisugu, who was also summoned as a guardian to deal with the parallel version of Angra in the Grand Order timeline. This version of Kirisugu never got a chance to be hired by the Ironsburns, and therefore he never got into contact with Irisville. This left him in a state of misery where he was never able to fully cleanse his heart of all the self-hatred. Now, unlike the fourth Holy Grail War, this time around the Ironsburns had the best chances of winning, and since the Grail was cursed anyway, it made their potential success a threat to the world in its entirety. Recognizing Kirisugu's ability, the Force pulled his soul out the pool and sent him to stop whatever was causing the disturbance. All of his original professions have been doubled, his phantasm in particular being an embodiment of the origin in his past life, giving him direct access to a utility that his counterpart could only use a certain amount of times. Then you have the situation with Tsiah Alter, who was sent as a counter guardian to deal with the demon god Baal and the Beast 3, Kiara Session. Baal for his attempts to shoot a magical bullet into Earth's core and destroy it, Kiara for seeking out the use of the Earth's core as a stepping stone that would bring about the downfall of mankind. Using his noble phantasm, his power has shown the extent of destroying an asteroid that would have shattered the Earth into pieces. You have Fujino, who is a guardian that was summoned during the Kara no Kyokai event as a military asset for the Force. In her scenario, a false version of Edmond Dantes was contracted to create a singularity for Goetia. Although the false servant ignored this request, Fujino was sent out to deal with the problem at hand. In contrast to her Kara no Kyokai counterpart, her summoning allows her to seek out a target from a bird's eye perspective, and that her mystic eyes are now an EX anti-world phantasm that can penetrate nearly 10,000 enemies at the same time. You have the Gouda Gouda event, where Okita Alter was summoned specifically to deal with the offset that Gouda would cause to humanity. This stems from her fake counterpart being born premature and her sister making a pact with the world that allowed Okita to survive. In return, she was summoned as a counter guardian that was expected to repay that debt. Her existence is now more of a time bomb, meaning that her body will self-destruct as a guarantee that she completes the task. She has also been granted the Blade of Purgatory and given a superior body to Okita that has no need to deal with her tuberculosis. And of course, how could one forget Sakamoto Ryoma, a spirit that was powered by the counterforce to deal with Nobunaga. His phantasm being his own wife, weaponized on a level that rivals the Age of Gods. Its power causes so much friction in the world that it can only be used one time before the world starts to see her as an enemy as well. Throughout the course of Fate history, you have guardians that are continuously cast out by the Force to fix these problems. The temperament of these subjects can vary on a case-by-case basis. Ryoma is a spirit that holds no resentment for the world and looks in a way to address the situation in the least threatening manner possible. Emiya Alter, on the other hand, has no need for this type of outlook of the modern world. He's more like a former angel that has been cast down to the depths of Hades. In the event that his method is efficient enough to get the job done, he could care less what gets destroyed in the process. And this is just an example of the type of beings that the world will send out if necessary. In a time where the world feels like the disturbance is too much for a counter guardian, such as the Beast class, you can expect the visit from a completely different entity, and that will be the Grand Servants, spirits who are not only drafted because they are the best of their kind, but they are also sent out to deal with these problems on the highest level. Of course, my favorite is always going to be Emiya. He's going to be extremely difficult to top, and a lot of these counter guardians just don't have the backbone that his story has to even compare. But I do respect you guys for even trying. I do recall a lot of people saying that there needs to be some type of spin-off to Emiya becoming a counter guardian. I definitely agree with that. I know it's long overdue, but his story has always been the most interesting by far. So I still would like to see that, you know, all the things that he had to go through to get to that point, and maybe a couple of the places that he had to go to during that time. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind seeing a little glimpse of everybody becoming a counter guardian, because I know that they all took different paths. I know in the show they show us a little bit of him going to settle some disputes in the Middle East. Then in the other one, a couple of guards from the Roman Empire. There does seem to be some sort of fire. If you look at the scene specifically, that could very well be the Great Fire of Rome, which was a really big part of their history. Even Nero was said to be involved, so that makes it even more relative than it was before. I also wouldn't mind seeing some new counter guardians for the disturbances that are a bit more recent. I don't know if you guys saw the headline, but about a month ago, they had the incident between Palestine and Israel where 1,000 missiles got shot off at Israel. And I'm like, what the fuck? How do you shoot 1,000 missiles and everybody doesn't perish? But apparently the missiles were poorly made, so a lot of the destruction from it was alleviated. Incidents just like that one would be right on time for a counter guardian to show up, because at that point it's getting out of hand, and they could definitely do some type of pocket singularity that doesn't have great involvement with the story but still make it impactful. Let me know what you guys think. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Shout out to all the patrons, and I will be back with more Tight Moon content. It is your boy Tsiah. I'm out.